record.
Nice, thank you. So, good morning, everybody. I'm intuitive numerologist Sue Coffin. Welcome to Healing Numbers 22 live numerology reading. Yeah, this is where we get together for an hour and discuss numbers and how they influence our lives. It's really important to me that I hold a safe and comfortable platform for everybody. So please, no judgments on others. It's about respect and kindness. We are all in this journey together. We are all on our own journey, but we're in it together. And besides, Adrianna has a way of cutting us off really quick. You're off the island. So my housekeeping notes is I'm going to be recording this session to put it on my website. If that makes you uncomfortable in any way, please turn off your video. If you don't feel comfortable just jumping in with questions or comments, use the chat or raise your hand. Adrianna and I will monitor that and jump in when it's the right time. My problem is I'm always afraid that I'm going to forget the brilliant idea that I had. So I jump in and I interrupt. So if I do that, tell me to stop. So today, I thought it would be really fun if we talked to Adrianna and Juanita to find out how their readings affected them. What is still holding in their mind? What came forward during the reading that you're still holding on to? That, you know, that's very important because we touched on something. Right, and everybody's here Deb's just had her reading, so she could jump in too with how you had your. Deb's been with me for a long time, since I think about when I first started.
I was one of your beta babies.
Yeah, there you go. And how I've grown, right? How I've grown.
Yes, my dear. Yeah.
Yeah. So Juanita, what stuck out to you?
So I definitely my life path, humanity, number 9. It just made sense. I'm always trying to help people. It just connected, and I feel like it just kind of gave me some closure of why I'm always exhausted trying to help people. But you guys also helped me find a balance there as well. I've definitely been, since our readings, I've definitely been working on trying to not just exhaust myself, just constantly trying to help people. So yeah.
So the reading itself, you very much connected to very quickly because it was the life path, the first number, and it's allowed you to accept who you are.
Yep.
And to balance that.
Right. Find that balance. And that's where I was lacking, and definitely just, you know, opening up, accepting help as well. Because I was, you know, just constantly giving, that is exhausting, and it kind of makes me form some type of resentment as well towards the ones I love. So I had to know that it's okay to receive help, you know, and it's okay to not worry so much, and, you know, have trust in other people, and, you know. So.
Yeah, that's not just your life path. That's also your expression number, the 6 energy.
Yeah.
Right, the 33-6. So the 9 and the 6, both very emotional numbers. Yeah. And Adrianna, how do you feel about what Juanita just said?
I think it's great. I think it's great that, like, because numerology is a language that not many people understand, even if you're breaking it down to them in plain language. Like, some people are just like, you said a number, so I don't get it. And the fact that, like, you are new to this and you just kind of grasped at something, or something made sense to you, it is like, okay, like, that's good to hear. But it's also good to hear just that, like, you took practical advice, not like, oh, I'm meant to just help people and like, you heard, you got what you heard what you heard, and you took from that, like, you're able to move differently. Like, you can help you to help other people better. Like,
Right.
and so and I know, like, watching you and just talking to you, I know you help everyone all the time. And
All the
I
time.
even kind of get on you. I kind of cuss you out a little bit, like, chill out. But it's
Well,
like nice.
don't you think it was a awareness, Adriana? I mean, Juanita was allowed herself that awareness of the
Yeah.
information that we were giving her. A lot of people come in with their walls up and they're
Mhm.
they're hearing, but they're not taking it all in.
Yeah. And I can say, just from, like, before we did the first live podcast, I mean, I can't help but talk about numerology in my life. So she's heard little things, and it's not that she's really understanding, but it's like she was already open, I guess, a little bit to numerology and what she was going to hear, just based on the conversations that I have with her outside of this. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, the number 6 popped up today, and like, let me tell you about 6.
Yeah. I love that though. I feel like, I don't know, like after our meetings about numerology and just reading charts, or like, Adriana will go over like my parents' chart, and it just answers so many questions that, like, or just makes things make sense. Like, I just look at it from like a different perspective now. It's like I'm looking at it from a different lens. You know what I mean? So
Right. Well, you're accepting who you are.
yes.
And you know the balance and the unbalance to a certain degree. So in the daytime when it gets overwhelming and all these people coming at you, needing this, needing that, and you're starting to overwhelm yourself, you stand back and say, who can I delegate? How can I delegate, or who do I not need to jump right in and take care of? Which is before, I suspect you jumped right in.
Yep.
Right? Is that correct?
Karen.
I have a lot of 6 energy. So I understand that. And that's what I said after my reading that I had was, I wish somebody had told me this 20 or 30 years ago, would have saved me so much agony, because I just tried to do everything for everybody and it was painful at times. I couldn't do it. And I didn't understand why I couldn't do it, but I was very off balance. So you have to learn how to look at things, and we can't take away from other people's journeys, because the 6 has a tendency to
On the nose. Yep.
You have a 6 too, Deb? I don't
Do
remember.
I can't remember where it is,
I
but
don't
I
know.
remember last weekend when I had my aha moment, we were talking about just this, helping other people to come into their own power. Is just as satisfying to me now that I understand that. I don't have to do it for you. I'll do it with you until you're comfortable with it, and then fly.
This is so
Oh my
funny.
gosh, Adriana.
This is so funny. I literally was just talking about this yesterday with
like
my
her
sister.
exact words. I'm not even kidding. It's so weird.
That's really funny. Like, I guess we're all like-minded. We're all in the same kind of realm. But I was saying to her yesterday that my goal with numerology is not, like, I feel like I'm always like a therapist to people. I'm always offering advice and just help stepping in, and like, I'm emotionally protecting people. I'm taking on people's emotions and all the things. And so when I first came into numerology, I was sure I knew what I wanted to do. And now that I've kind of settled into it, I know that I want to help people discover themselves, like discover their passions or discover what it is that they want to do. But I don't want to do it for them. I want to help you along the way, figure it out. Like, and hopefully that opens doors for you yourself, and you go on and have a enlightened life. But I don't want to be like a therapist, or even like not a mentor, but I don't know, a coach. Like, I don't even necessarily want to be that. I just want to help a person walk their walk. But like, I'll walk it right beside you. I will get into the things with you if it'll help you get into them for yourself, but I don't want to do it for you.
You know, you can do it for them, right? You can.
Yeah.
And people, after a while, I think you start to recognize, as we get older, we recognize those people, those vampires, you know, the energy vampires.
Oh yeah.
that take way too much energy from us. But that's all learning, and it's okay. I guess the thing is the awareness that it's okay. You're not a bad person, Juanita, for saying, I can't do that for you today. Because that's what I carry, the guilt.
And and that it's so hard for me to just say no. Like, and that's what it is. Like, I'm like, well, if I don't help, who else is gonna help, you know? So, but I've been doing well lately with saying no, you know what I mean?
Good for you. Good for you.
Because I don't want to help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. And at some point they're just taking advantage. And like I said, it's just an exhausting process. And it's like a cycle. It's like a toxic cycle. That's what it is. And I'm just finally stepping into it and, like, you know, putting my foot down. So.
And your fuel tank gets empty.
Absolutely. And it gets in the way of me nurturing myself. You know what I mean?
Because it is. The 6 is all about learning. The lesson is to learn how to love yourself as much as you love everybody else.
Exactly. And that's something I've struggled with as well.
So I could say when I was in college, I used to say, well, it's not like I would say it all the time, but I remember so I went to school in North Carolina. All of my friends, they still lived in Pennsylvania. So I would drive up to PA all the time. And it was one fall break, and I just was like breaking at the seams, and I had to just be honest with everyone about where I was at. So I was at my best friend's parents' house, and I was telling them, like, I feel guilty for the times when I'm not able to come. Like, I know I'm letting you down because you want to see me, but I feel guilty. Like, I'm not able to. I'm not in a position to come. I have to go see my family, but I would just feel guilty for letting them down. Like, and it's not like I let them down in like a bad way, but if you want to see somebody, it's like, it's sad when you don't get to see them. So I would take that guilt and just like, it would be so heavy. So I remember I said to them, like, how can we, like, can you guys come and visit me? Like, how can we resolve this to where it's like, we're both able to see each other and participate in each other's lives, but all the pressure is not on me, because I feel the pressure. And it was, in hindsight, I recognize that is my life path, that 6 energy, that the heart, like, where I'm just like, I don't want to let you down. How can I help you? You know, like, but at the same time, I can't take on other people's emotions. I have to be able to take care of myself. And if I'm taking on so much from everybody else, or if I'm allowing myself to feel that guilt when really there's no reason to feel guilty.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sometimes it's like you create it in your head, but then when you actually talk about it with them, they're like, oh, like, I'm sorry, like, you don't have to feel pressured. I want you to find a balance too. You just have to open your mouth. It's
but
like,
that's why I had to speak. I was like, I have to say something to them, because I know I'm holding a lot of this, and it's not anything on their part. Like, it's not of their doing. It's me, like, feeling like I'm letting them down. But
it's so cool. It's so cool, Deb and Karen. These girls are only in their late 20s, and look how far they are already.
Yeah.
And I have to give numerology credit for this. I have to give the ability of the numbers and being able to explain the numbers to them to help them understand who they are so that they can grasp it. And at such a young age, it just is so amazing to me. Because I don't know if at this age, if I would have listened. Right? So I really applaud you both. Really applaud you both. I'm so proud of you, because I think this is just going to help you grow exponentially and be able to conquer and do the things that you really want to do in this world without carrying all the negativity, all the baggage. I don't think you need to go through the baggage anymore, because you're learning, you're knowing, understanding. Yeah. You have any comments, Deb?
No, I don't, Sue. I'm soaking this in.
It's
I'm
amazing.
finding it very, I'm finding it very helpful and self-reflective. That's what I'm getting from both of you. Juanita and Adriana, the way you talk about yourselves and each other gives me clues to how I can apply that to my own everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really, I like that you said that.
So thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate both of y'all for saying that, honestly. Like, one thing when I don't know, when I came to the conclusion of what I kind of want to do, one thing that kept ringing through to me is that, like, and I openly pray for it. God, make me a mirror. Like, allow me to see my reflection in other people, allow other people to see their reflections in me. Like, and so it's just nice to hear that even though we're just talking, it's like, okay, other people can see themselves, and it's not just a one-sided experience. It is kind of, we all do have a universal experience, and it just takes coming together and talking, and
Right.
you know.
Correct. Feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
No judgments. No
Yeah,
judgments.
and I was gonna say, Sue, I will like tell you that I feel just having a comfortable space where I feel safe, and that's where I learn the best. So thank you for providing that for us, and just being so open and understanding, and just like I feel like even in some situations I don't feel comfortable asking certain questions because I feel like they're dumb questions. I never felt like this on the Zoom call. Thank you for creating that space. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be your guinea pig.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Now, another question I have, you two are sisters, so how has the numerology helped you to develop your relationship a little bit deeper, maybe?
You want to go first?
She's like, want to go first? I think just like the depth of our relationship has changed. Like, I feel like before we really tapped into all this, it was just like surface level conversations. Like, hey, what you doing? What you doing this weekend? Basically nothing important. And now I feel like I've learned like her deepest parts, like of her soul, literally. I thought I knew her, but I really didn't, especially in adulthood. Like, wow, it's been insane. Like I would say over the past like 2 years, we have really connected in a way that I thought we never would have connected. Like listen, y'all, we didn't even like each other. Like growing up, if you told me back then that we would be as close as we are now, I would just laugh like, yeah, okay. But like, I don't know, we both have connected in our trials and tribulations, and we've really just opened ourselves up, and in opening ourselves up, and I've learned so much from her. Like she's so passionate. She's passionate about numerology. And like I said, just having a safe space and her, just me having that connection to her, I want to learn more, and I want to, I want her to teach me what she knows. So I don't know, just the whole relationship has really just done like a 360 in the last 2 years. And I feel like I really know her soul, and just the depths of our conversations have changed entirely.
Your heart is opened up.
Yes.
There's a connection now to heart to heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say the same thing. Like, especially over these last couple of weeks, like since you've been involved in the conversations, I definitely feel like when we get off of the calls, we continue the conversation.
Nice.
Every time.
It's like, it's insane kind of how, like, she's so curious when we get off. Yes. So it's very helpful to kind of just like, okay, like you're curious in this aspect, and just being able to like not necessarily guide her, but just help her through the process. Like just understanding what she may or may not be feeling is, to me, it's really rewarding. Like I get to step in as a big sister, and we're only what, 11 months apart?
Yeah, I don't know.
We're really not that, or we're a year and 11 months apart.
Yeah,
let's add the year. But we're not that much we're not so far in age, but it's still like, I've always just been her sister, I feel like. And I feel like over these last couple weeks, especially, like I've been her big sister. Like I'm able to really talk to her in a way that's like, okay, I'm not talking to you like a friend. I'm not talking to you, even if it is like a friend. It's more so, I just feel like I'm stepping into that role now of just, I'm finally able to be your big sister. And this is a great time.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's lovely. Compatibility reports are amazing. I've helped a lot of relationships because I always say, if you know the energy of the person and you're willing to accept them for who they are, you can love anybody, right?
Yeah.
If we don't know, we don't know. But numerology can help you do that.
Yeah,
Now,
just
for Deb and Karen, who don't have a chart in front of them, don't know the girls. Adrianna has a 6 life path, whereas Juanita has a 9. 6 and 9 are very compatible energies. Yeah,
We're just
they're the same shapes. They're just
yin and yang.
Right, there you go. So their life paths work together. They both have, where did I see that? The Juanita has the 6th expression, which is matching Adrianna's 6th life path. Adrianna has the 9 heart's desire, which matches Juanita's life path. They both have a 7 personality. We can explain this, so I don't want to confuse you. But I'm just showing you how why are they compatible? Because they are compatible. The numbers are showing that. They're showing. Now, why was there difficulty at growing up? Well, first off, Adrianna has so many 1s in her name. She was bossy as all get out, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
And you, my dear, have much more patience. Juanita, you do much more patience. You're very sympathetic. You were empathetic too. You could feel things,
Oh, yes.
right? Yes, you were the sensitive one. And the words that Adrianna was throwing out there were hurt you probably deeper than other people. That's not, I'm not judging this. I'm just saying that, as kids, we don't think, we just do, right? Now, Adrianna loves spontaneity. We never know what she's going to do. She's here, she's there, she's doing this and that. Whereas you don't like change. Change comes very difficult for you.
This is true.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, very.
So that was very hard for you to understand. How could your sister just go off and be impulsive and do this and do that? Whereas you like to have the structure and the knowing of what was going on around you.
That's so accurate, isn't it, Adrianna?
Yeah, she worries about me to this day. Like I'll just have to drop her a dime and be like, oh, I'm gonna go to Philly. And she's like, what? Are you sure? Be safe, be careful. Like she worries so much. And it's just I'm able to like do that. She gets so, what are you doing?
She has all that survival energy. She's fine. You're not going to tell her what to do. I'll tell you that right now. She's going to do whatever she wants to do. You can suggest it, but she'll always make up her own mind. She's not going to have anybody influencing her decisions. And that's very hard. Growing up, raising a child with all that 1 energy is hard because they're original, they're unique, they're inventors, they learn through experiences in life, whereas some people learn are very structured and learn all that 1 energy sets their goal and they just go for it without even thinking, and they don't care if they don't reach the goal. It was the experience that they learned on the way, right?
Same time.
Yeah. So there was I can see where there was some headbutting going on. The other thing was the pentacle, right? Juanita's pentacle was 2. So she was very sensitive to everything and liking the groups of the people and liking, well, she was a quiet one, I suspect. The 2 pentacle could bring in quiet. Was that right? Am I wrong? You can tell me I'm wrong.
Wrong. This girl,
Really?
this girl's the center of attention, loud. I'm talking, if you're in the cafeteria at school, you're gonna hear her laugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you
like,
feel about that, Juanita? Do you think that that's the way it was?
Yes, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think my energy was always on 10. But I think when I got to a certain age, I kind of calmed down. But my younger self, absolutely, just wild.
that's what, when you speak on the 2 energy, like I feel like sometimes she would show patience, but a lot of the time when you were a kid, I think just as a lot of kids do, like they want to protect their world. And just knowing that we're adopted and we're existing in a world that's so unfamiliar to us, like it's like you just want to protect your world. But it came across when you were a kid, I really feel like that 2 energy came across as that manipulative kind of, I'm going to set the tone. Like, I'm not going to let anybody too close, but I'm going to let you close enough. And I'm going to tell the story this way, and I'll tell it that way over there. And, but then you were also very blunt and honest, and just, so it was like, it's like for you, even if you were manipulating a situation, nobody would even believe it because you were so blunt in the first place that people are like, this is just, obviously she's saying the truth.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100%. I feel like I feel like, sorry, go ahead, Sue.
I was gonna say, that could be the 9 energy in her life, right? Because 9 is an all or nothing number. Right? And if it's unbalanced, then it can be the till of the hun. And if it's balanced, then it's Mother Teresa wants to take care of everybody. So it's all or nothing. And that can happen on a daily basis. That doesn't mean, you got a year of being good and a year of, but once you balance that, then it's about all the selfless service for other people. Yeah, another interesting thing I see in the charts together as compatibility readings is they both are challenged by the 7 during this pinnacle. That's about self-reflection. That's about learning yourself on a deeper level. So you both were really trying to figure yourselves out, which is so understandable. I can't wrap my head around being uplifted out of a house and put into another house. I can't wrap my head around it. So thank goodness you had each other.
I think it's something that like the body remembers, but we don't. Like, I remember my parents telling me, like, when I was a kid, they thought I was a special needs baby. But it's because when they first adopted me, or when I first got in their custody, I didn't want to be bothered. So when you're saying the 7, listen, the 7 it's shown through very early. But I think my body was just like, I don't know you guys. I don't know this environment. And I've already been moved around a couple times. And so, but I don't remember any of this.
Well, Adrianna, I feel like you also had, even at an early age, had, trouble trusting because you were neglected. You know what I mean? Like, even as young as you were, you still, it's still traumatizing. Like, you're gonna remember it. Yeah.
Of course. Yes. So, definitely.
It's not like you just were like, leave me alone, but you didn't want to eat. You didn't want to, you know what I mean? Like, they really had had to warm up. Yeah. Like, it was a process. So.
Now, how old was you, Adrianna, when you were moved into your adopted family's home?
I think like 8 months old, like really young.
Okay.
But I know when I came into their custody, I had like a knot on my belly because I wasn't being properly bathed.
Or fed.
Or fed. So, and when I've connected with my biological sister, Drea, she told me, she was actually in the house with me. She was like 5 years old. And she's like, yeah, I'm the one who got you removed from the house because she told the social worker that they weren't taking care of me. And then when they checked me out, it was like, oh, they're not taking care of this little girl. So that's how I got removed from being in whoever's custody I was in. And then it was like I ended up in my parents' custody. But yeah, I was neglected as a baby, and I don't remember it, but I do know my parents, when they even just tell me like about those early days, it's like I was reacting in a way that says like, hey, this is hard for me.
You were traumatized, literally traumatized.
Right, yes, you're right. And how about you, Juanita? How old were you?
I was 6 months old. So it was our older brother Bashir. He got adopted at 2 years old, and then Adrianna came, and then I came at 6 months, and then not long after, what Adrianna maybe came. Yeah, he was only 2 weeks old. So they adopted 4 of us. So, and all for similar reasons, all from the same area. Honestly, like we used to joke around and say, like, if we're not biological sisters, but we're probably cousins somewhere.
Yeah.
Because our parents were like running the streets together, like in the same areas and just doing drugs and just craziness. So we all have a similar story.
Well, we all chose the life that we came to fulfill. And for some reason, Juanita and Adrian, you were meant to be together.
Absolutely. And I remember Adrian telling me the first time she read my chart, she cried. She was like, you were meant to be my sister. Like,
most definitely. Most definitely. It's so in the numbers, isn't it, Adrian?
Yeah. Like when I looked at your chart, I was like, oh my gosh. Well, especially because I looked at your chart and I looked at Drea's chart at the same time. And Drea, she's my biological sister, who I'm getting to know in like adulthood. So I was looking at both of your guys' charts. You both have a 9 life path. And it was like, oh, like I got separated from a sister, from a family, and to end up with somebody with similar energy, not only to her, but to me, it was like, I was meant to know you. Like we were meant to come into each other's lives. It's not coincidental. So I've always done like numerology studies on myself. I'll study like my life path or study my expression number. And it's not really on other people. So I'm able to understand myself better, but not other people and how the energy really relates. But then when I looked at your chart, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I know nothing is coincidental in life. Cool, I can say that. But then just to look at energetically what you bring, there's no coincidence there. Like I need that energy. And I need that energy now. Like I need you in my life. And I was meant to know you. And it's just like, I don't know.
And you're meant to know her on a very, very deep level. That's why you got into the numerology. That's why we've all pulled together so that we can understand ourselves better energetically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a wonderful story, really. It's very hard, like I said, for me to wrap my head around that. Not that I grew up in the perfect healthy home, because I certainly had a lot of my own issues, but my parents stayed together. I think even in their house, both parents were alcoholic, and even though they were both alcoholic, I had a home, right? I had the home, the homestead. So to be uplifted out of that and put directly into another home, it would be very hard for me to wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
So I just think it's so wonderful that you have each other. Now the brother, you've done his chart, I'm sure.
Oh, no, I haven't. Well, I've toyed with my older brother's chart. Sorry. I've toyed with my older brother's chart, but he had lived with me for a summer. And I was talking to him about numerology, and he was like, don't do a chart on me. Like he didn't want that. So I didn't, but I've toyed with it. And even he'll present numerology conversations to me. Like I'm not bringing it up to him. So he's just like, just how Juanita was saying, I can't help but to talk about it, and the passion, it shines through. And I am able to talk to, like, I can talk to you and say, Well, the numbers say that like energetically, you should really be trying for, and I can do that. And then I can go to my brother and I can be like, yo, the energy is saying like, you're tripping right now. And like, it's the same thing, but it's just almost translated differently.
Right.
So that's how I talk to him about it. And it really, it's relatable to him. So he'll bring conversations to me and he'll ask me certain questions. And I'm like, well, you do have this karmic debt number. And like, I could really help you understand why you're like this in relationships. And so he's a little bit more curious.
Right. And that's not uncommon with males. Men
Yeah.
are not as receptive to the learning energies and things of that nature. But I do have a high respect for you for not doing the chart. If somebody asks you not to do it, then we have no right to do that.
Mhm.
We have no
Right.
right. It's not up to us.
But I've never, we have two brothers. We have an older brother and a younger brother. And I'm closer with my older brother. We was just closer with our younger brother. And so I've never even just considered looking at his chart. But I actually think it would be interesting. Yeah, Jared, I think it would be interesting to look at what's raging within him. I'm not as close with him because I feel like I want to help him in a way that's actually helpful. But he doesn't want to receive that. Like I want to big sister him, and he wants to kind of do what he wants to do. So
he's not ready.
Yeah, there's like a disconnect there, but the love is there for him. But I've never actually considered like to look at what's actually raging within him and around him. Like,
is he extremely independent?
No, not really.
Not at all.
He just doesn't listen. Like he's not really independent, but he doesn't listen. He
gravitates towards everything negative. Like he just got out of prison doing almost 5 years, but he just gravitates towards everything negative. He just got out and he's literally on the same path he was before he went in. And I just feel like it has something to do with like self-love. Do you feel that way, Adrianna?
I do. I don't think he's ever learned to love himself. And I'm only saying that when he first got out, we had a conversation and it was just about his thinking on like his childhood experience. And it sounded pretty similar to me. And something that I've learned in adulthood is that we were adopted, but I feel like definitely because we were adopted, the expectation to love mommy and daddy was even higher. Like it was like,
oh yeah,
you guys should see us as your
like
parents.
Our saviors.
Yeah. So I can see that.
I don't think we ever really learned how to love anyone for ourselves, like just as kids. I think if we learned it, it's been a skill we've learned throughout like growing up, but just like in our home, I don't think that's something that we learned how to do. It was like an expectation. And so I don't think that any of us really learned how to, well, you were different. You took care of yourself, you did the makeup and you were all experimenting, but I really don't think any of us really learned how to actually like recognize, hey, I love this person. Hey, I love myself. Like, and I think that's a skill that we're all like acquiring as we get older.
Yeah, but the nice thing is Juanita and you can do that together.
Yeah, because I feel like we're both on similar paths. Like we're really in the point in our lives. Like I'm 26, she's about to be 28, and I feel like we're really just in a path the same path. Like we're just trying to dig deep and really get to know ourselves, and that's why we connect so well right now, because we're literally doing the same thing on the same journey almost. So.
Well, you guys,
oh, excuse me.
Go ahead, Sue.
Do you guys talk more since you've had the numerology? I mean, are you more apt to pick up the phone and say, hey, guess what happened to me today? And
yes, I feel that way.
Yeah.
Or I feel like, go ahead.
No, go.
I was about to say, or I just feel like our conversations are just, it's like, even if we don't mean to get deep, we get deep. Like we could literally call like, hey girl, like how was work? And then we'll just 1 hour later, we're crying.
Yeah.
Like talking about our life's trauma.
Yeah, that's that 9 energy, right? It does want to philosophize and think about things on a very deep level, especially Adrianna with the 7 energy. really digging beneath the surface to try to find out
she's
the
so emotional.
mystical of life and
She's
how
so
it works.
emotional.
Yeah.
But I feel like I know since I was a kid, I have been digging. Like I didn't necessarily know what I was digging at. So it's like I'm just scratching at a surface, but I was digging for something. And it was now that I'm older and I can look back and just follow the patterns, it was me just trying to find me and just
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Your brother Jared, I suspect there's karmic debt he's working through. And he keeps repeating the pattern because he hasn't gotten it yet. And if you could get that reading in and say, this is about a past life thing, and this is what happened in a past life. This is what you're here to work through in this lifetime, but you don't have to live it the rest of your life. Just get, do it, get it over with, and move on.
Or sometimes I can't help but wonder if he sees his biological family in the way they are, because even though we didn't grow up with them, you'll be surprised at how many characteristics like we get from them. Like once we connected with them, it's weird. Like you'll be like, oh my gosh, like we actually have things in similar, even in our characteristics that you wouldn't think. But I feel like maybe I can't help but think if he feels that way about his biological family, like they're all kind of all over the place. All of our families are all over the place, but I just feel like he connects himself to that, and he only can see himself as that, if that makes sense.
Now, did everybody take the last name of your adoptive mom and dad?
They changed all of our names. All of our names were changed.
So everybody carries that last name, and that's why you have those characteristics.
We actually have different.
Yeah. So she was saying the characteristics like with our biological families, like just getting to know them in adulthood. It's like, oh, I wouldn't have known that we were similar in these ways.
And I feel like even us with his biological family, like
even us, the fact that you and Jared are closer, but you and Jared have the same last name, and me and Bashir are closer, but we have the same last name. But we're all brothers and sisters. We all have the same parents, but it's split in two different groups. And then, I mean, we have older siblings that also have a different last name.
Yeah, it's complicated. But Adrianna and Bashir got, so before my mom and dad were married, they adopted us. And my mom had her previous name from her previous marriage, which was McNeil. Adrianna and Bashir got McNeil. And when my parents got married, they gave us Johnson, which is our adoptive dad's name. So yeah, it's a lot. It's complicated.
But Sue, we were looking at the last names. The energy of McNeil and Johnson, I'm pretty sure it's 5.
It is. Yes, it is.
Both of the last names. So even the names are different, but we still have a similar kind of energy behind it. Like, and even that points to for me, I'm like, we were definitely meant to know each other. Like, even in just, we have different names, but energetically, we are running on the same kind of beat, like, so that was interesting to see too. Just even in our differences, there's so much similar there that you might not see on the surface.
Even when things changed.
Yeah.
You continue to stay, because I have both charts on everybody. And yes, it's extremely interesting. If without being too complicated, if I was to look at Juanita's chart, even though the Juanita Johnson versus, I'm gonna crucify the first
Warnisha
Bird, even though the numbers are very compatible. They're different, but they're still compatible. They're kindred spirits. So you still held on to everything, but you switched it up in a little bit of a different way. It's very cool. Very cool. And same with Adrianna. Adrianna has your biological name has a lot of 7s and 9s, whereas your McNeil has the 4 and 9. 7 and 4 are very much the, very familiar energy. They're grounded, they're practical, they're loners, they like to study. So it's amazing. It's
So
amazing.
that has helped me resolve certain feelings within myself about my biological family. Because I thought when I met them, like I'm gonna come into, it's not like I really wanted to meet them, but I thought when I did meet them, I would come into like, all right, these are my people. Everything's gonna be
But
relatable, and we're gonna
it
be,
just gets 10 times complicated.
yes,
More
but I'm
complicated.
more of I'm an outsider, even still. Like, even just in my experience, I'm the only one out of 11 children that was adopted. So even just that alone,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, I was the
You
only
were
one that
the
was
only
adopted.
one out of 11 that got adopted?
Yep. Everyone else,
Wow.
they either went in foster homes or they were, they grew up in the system or they were old enough to not. But I was the only one to have gotten adopted. So when I came into the fold, it was kind of like everybody expected me to like have this familial love for them. And I'm like, I don't. Like, I literally have a family. I just want to get to know you. But that made me an outsider. It made me something different than the rest of them because I couldn't relate to what they were wanting me to feel. Like I just couldn't do it. And just in like, they'll talk and they won't talk to me. Like when my mom died, Drea's the one that called me. Nobody else called me. And it's just
I
kind
didn't
of
know
like,
your mother was gone. Your mother died. When did she die?
I think she died August 2020. So it was like during the height of COVID, I guess, but I don't know if she died due to COVID or because she already had health issues. Or it could have just been all compounded together. But even when she died, it was kind of like, I mean, I stood my ground. No one was going to tell me I had to show up to a funeral. Because I had an older brother who passed away a couple years ago, and I went to his funeral, but I didn't know him. And it was so awkward. It was like my first time meeting my mom, my first time meeting my little sister. There's cousins and aunts and uncles talking to me, and I'm meeting my foster family. And this is my first time learning I was even in a foster home. Like, so it was so much for me. And after the funeral, everyone was mad at me for like not being like super loving and like, give me a hug, sis. And I'm like, do you guys know how much I just had to absorb in like a 24-hour period? But I went to that funeral. And so when my mom died, everyone's like, you're definitely coming. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'll never put myself in that position again to just absorb all that sadness for people you don't know, but you know you're related to them. So you want to relate to them in some way, but I couldn't do it.
It's pressure.
Yeah, and it was this obligation. So that's even made me even more of an outsider and a loner just within my biological family, just like, oh, okay. But it helps me because when I look at the energy of my biological name and my adopted name, I'm going to be an outsider anyway. Like, you're not going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to go against the grain, and it's just what it is. Like, so
And
I
you
can't
always have
really,
been.
yeah. So it's like, I can't really be like super sad about the thing. It's just, that's just how it is. And I'm not afraid to it. I'm okay with like being on the outside. I'm okay with standing my ground and having my sense of integrity. If that means I'm not getting to know 10 other people, like, that's fine.
So
sorry, that was a whole spiel.
Basically, the numerology has allowed you to see both sides of the story.
Yes.
And to accept it for what it is.
Yeah, it really makes it make sense. I don't know about you, Googles, but I've been denied kind of making it make sense. Like, if I'm just talking to my family, I'm not getting anything out of that. Like, no one's really telling any truths or so. Even looking at my name helps me understand.
Yeah, like it was not what I expected it to be. I literally, so all three, Adrianna, Bashir, Jared, they all found their biological families early on, around the same time too. And I was the only one who didn't know my biological family. I went through years and years just not knowing. And, it wasn't really like, I mean, I was just curious. I wanted to see what my mom, I didn't know what my parents looked like, my mom or dad. I just wanted to be like, oh, I have her nose. I have her lips. I just wanted to kind of do that thing. And about 2 years ago, I ended up finding my biological family. And I worked myself up for nothing. Like it wasn't what I thought it would be. It was just, and I don't even really talk to my biological mom now. So it's just like, I got the answers I needed, but then it's like, I just carried on and resumed to my normal life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But now you know, right? It was something you had to do in order to move forward.
Exactly.
It was
Just closure.
it was holding you back. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. It's all your story is both of your stories are very interesting. And it amazes me how the numerology has allowed you to ground yourself and to accept who you are today and who you were back then.
Yes.
And who your family. Now, let me ask you, have you done charts on your families, on your parents? Do you know who your biological parents?
Oh, biological?
Yeah.
No.
Have no, don't want to, don't need to.
And that's what we've done charts on our adopted parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
But biological, it's like,
You don't need to.
I don't really.
I would actually like to, just in that it was hard. Like, I didn't expect it to be as hard on me when my mom died. Like, because I didn't talk to her for like 10 years. Like I knew of them when I was 16. I met my mom for the first time when I was like 21. And that was the last and only time I saw her. And that was the last time I talked to her. So I've talked to her like four to 5 times in the 10 years that I knew her. She died when I was 26.
And I think, Adrianna, the reason why it's been so hard on you is because we longed for these relationships with our biological parents. And then it's like, she knew you were out there and she didn't bother to make an effort to reach out to get to know.
But it's like partially what made it hard was that I didn't care to know her. Like when Aunt Sue told us when Aunt Sue told me who she was and like my biological family, I literally didn't care because I was never looking for them. But then, okay, I know who you are, perfectly fine. Now I know what you look like. All right, cool. But I didn't have that relationship with her. So it was like when she died, I just expected it to be like, all right, well, sucks for you guys. I'm here for you. But like, I didn't expect to feel anything. And then the part where it's like we knew of each other for 10 years and didn't really get to know each other. And I look just like this woman. Like I talk, you hear me even with Drea, like we sound just alike.
And her biological sister are literally, they sound exactly the same.
And it's like to know that somebody's out there or was out there who I had the opportunity to get to know and I didn't. So
okay, this is what I want to say. This is what I need to say. First off, you both carry the 9 energy. 9 is about past lives, right? 9 is the last number I study. It contains all the energies. If we add 1 + 2 + 3 up to 8, we get 36. 3 + 6 is 9. It contains everything. It is a very spiritual number, the last number. So it does bring in past lives. So there's a lot of past life work that you're here working in this lifetime. And what does that mean, right? That means you got to give some stuff up. You got to work through some stuff, let it go so that you don't have to take it back with you when you cross over. The other thing I see very interesting in both of these charts is you both contain master numbers. This tells me that you're very highly evolved souls. You both contain the 6 energy. These are our teachers. 9 and 6 spiritual teachers. So the experiences that you've come here and experienced so far, there's more to come too, which are going to get better and better because you have a better understanding. You're teaching us. Look how we're all sitting here listening to your story. And I'm sure that Karen and Janet and Deb and we're having a hard time wrapping our heads around the unsettledness of your life and how it was uplifted. But you're teaching us, you're teaching the people around you, right? You're working, you're helping the brothers, you're helping the sisters, the other sisters, all the people, the adopted people that don't have sisters like you two, Adrianna and Juanita. Maybe Adrianna, someday you can take this numerology out to help adopted people to help them understand themselves better. Because
Yeah.
it must be confusing. I mean, when we get married, we change our last name, but we're late 20s, 30s, 40s before we do that. So we have some groundedness. You guys started changing your names at a very young age. That was kind of shuffling the energy around very young, but it all was supposed to happen. Nothing happens randomly. Everything is set up. So you two, and just sitting here today and sharing your story with us was supposed to happen. And I really thank you girls for doing that, because I will leave here and do thinking about you most of the day, trying to process this story. Now, Karen, Deb, Janet, anybody have any questions for these girls?
Not a question, but I would like to share that I too am adopted. And in the,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We have to hear your story, Deb.
Yes.
at some point, this is so very helpful. So
Oh
it's
man.
just it's another stitch in our
Yes, in our
in our
little group.
quilt.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
I forgot that. Now, how old was you when you were placed into your adoptive home?
5-6 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
really young
Just like
too.
me. Just like me. Yeah.
Oh, I wish you brought that up sooner. I pulled you in a little bit more on that, because you very much understood this story. These
Wow.
the girls this morning.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I forgot that.
That whole
Because-
caregiving piece, Juanita, that whole I need to take care of you, because somebody let go of us and didn't take care of us. And
Right.
that has been an
You know
underlying
what?
theme.
Wow. Wow. That just clicked. Yeah.
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 Somebody
That's why
walked
I
away
have to
from me,
need to-
so
that's why
I'm
I
never
feel
going to
like-
walk away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That was
Gee,
deep.
that's wonderful. Wow, what an ending. Well, thank you
Yeah.
very much. I mean, that was a wonderful hour. Oh my. Our next meeting will be what, on the, let's see, it's the 7th, right?
Thank you
Yes,
for
the
listening,
7th.
Karen.
The 7th of January.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen.
We will meet again, and
The
I will.
7th of January.
Yeah.
That's a day before her birthday.
Oh, wow. We'll have
How interesting we started this. Didn't we start on your birthday, Weebles?
Yeah.
The first one I think was on her birthday.
Yep.
Very interesting.
See how special you girls are? So special. Well, if anybody's looking for a reading or to delve a little bit deeper into their energy, you can reach out to Healing Numbers 22. I would be very happy to read your numbers. And I thank you all for joining me today. It was wonderful. I really look forward to this. I was sad that I missed the last one, but we're back on track. So we'll see everybody again on the 7th. You can go into my website. I'm going to change everything, hopefully today, to introduce what we're going to do next time. And it's going to be with an astrologer. So it will be fun.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
So thank you. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you,
You
too.
guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Deb.
Bye, darling.
Bye, Karen. Bye, Janet.
See ya. Oh my
gang.
God.
That
That
was
was-
fun.
Yes. And the ending, Deb, that's so, now I'm going to think about that for the rest of the day. The
Yeah,
reason why
yeah.
I'm so stuck on taking care of people, because like, oh my gosh, it makes it clicks.
Even when she said I never walk. Oh wait, we're recording still. Let's